All right, I'm back. Thank you for letting me come back. Unfortunately, I'm not going to follow up on what Coach Orlando was promising because of the acceleration of the process here. I'm going to skip the second part, which was going to be for me developing defensemen individually, and I'm going to jump right into my third phase, which is the transition. This is kind of the bread and butter. This is what we were known for at Brown, so I think this would be the most exciting and fun too, because I've got a lot of game clips here to show you as well. So the philosophy of where this comes from, I was fortunate enough to grow up on right next to a Native American reservation, the Onondagas. I went to Lafayette High School in upstate New York. We had the original youth program because we had the natives. We had the Native Americans who at age 3 were given a stick. So right from the get-go, I was trained, how to play this game. With attack first, pull the trigger, go. And obviously most of us who are my age and older, this is the only way we knew how to play. We didn't know about how to manage the game. You didn't know this. And all of a sudden this guy, Bill Tierney, comes along, in the late 80s and early 90s, and he shows that you can manage games and you can somehow with less talent win games with slide schemes and all this stuff. And so all of us coaches are like, oh, well, that's the way to coach. And so we've transferred that, got transferred for about 20 years. Well, now we're just trying to pull this thing back. So it's just, I kind of cringe and I smile at the same time when people are like, oh, Coach, I love the way you guys are, you've done this, what the style that you're playing. I'm like, I didn't invent anything, we just kind of uncovered this thing, we just pulled back, we're just playing like it's in the 70s and 80s, the way game's supposed to be played, and so the mentality here, it's this fun, this 18th century Russian general, Suvorov, push the balls, push this is military, push as hard as you can, okay? Put your opponent in a bad position, quickly assess the situation, and then with absolute and ruthless commitment, annihilate him, and that's the style, and that's what we're trying to do here. All right, let's jump right into this. So putting that defensive coordinator, putting the opponent in as uncomfortable position as possible early on. 3 ways. The transition, which we all know about when you get the 4v3, the 5v4, the numbers and all that. Early offense is the second phase. For us, we call it early offense. And early offense for us is when we still have D-middies and long poles and face-off men in the game. And now we're going to take advantage of the fact that even though we have long sticks, D-middies, and face-off guys in the game, they're being covered by offensive midi types. They're being covered by, we use this term, goats, go at them, right? They don't want to be on defense. Or you can call them OMARs. It was not an accurate acronym for offensive midi or attackman. Just OMAR is a fun name to say. So, do you find those guys, and keep them on the field and make that defense as uncomfortable as possible for them because they're stuck on the field. And then the third phase of this, of our mentalities, okay, they stop the transition, they stop the early offense, the substitution phase attack. Once we go into 6v6, we're coming at you right away. So I'm going to go through those 3 phases. So first off, we'll jump into the transition offense and some clips. So for us, 4v3, run the break, we don't do anything there's nothing special here. You're not going to walk away going, wow, I can't believe what they do 4v3. Here we go, our goalie gets an outlet, throws it up to Larkin Kemp against Syracuse in a scrimmage, banging it to the point and bringing the heat. That's Kyler Balestri running the point. This was a lefty defenseman. This is something that we've done quite a bit with. We'll push this back. Again, treating our defensive players like offensive players. Who here has a talented left-handed long stick midi or a talented left-handed D midi? You got a couple of those. And so it's not like, what do you do with them on a 4-on-3 break? Do you go to a left-handed fast break? And we've talked about that. I don't like it. It just, even at the college level, I'm going to practice right-handed fast breaks. So a lot of times what we'll do is we'll make an early call in our 4v3. So if our point attackman, he's got to be the talker. It's not coming from me as a sideline. There's no way they can hear me. There's not enough time. So we train our point attackman. If you see an offensive threat, again, we think our defensemen are pretty offensive, and they're left-handed, do an early call. And that's a lot more comfortable for them as opposed to trying to come in and draw the point defender and then throwing it this way or throwing a backhand scoop. It helped. We had really good face-off guys too last year. So I'll pause it right there. So that's our 4v3. Coach, can you pull up the clinic notes again? And this might be something we can send to you. All right, so this is my third presentation here. So I just went through the 1, 2, 3, the transition, early offense, 6v6 coming right away. The transition, 4v3. Now look at that piece of numbers break. Do you need a bigger font? Or blow it up a little bit? Thanks, Jason. Awesome. All right, these 5 principles. Okay. For us, numbers break means all the other numbers besides 4 on 3. 4 on 3's got its own special category. This is everything else. Okay, so what I like about it, because I can remember at one point when I was a coach, I was like, ooh, that wasn't a 6v5, that was a 5v4. Man, that was splitting hairs, but I was going to try to tell us to do something different versus that. Now it's like, okay, if it's a 4 on 3, all right, we yell bring it, bring the ball down. Okay, if it's a numbers break, we'll yell numbers or dump it. You know, so for us, this is the stuff that's different. This is hopefully where you walk away going like, wow, he's really challenged the way we do our transition offense. Push the ball down the side versus throw into the trailer. Yes, if you watched some Brown lacrosse games last year, you probably did once in a while see a guy coming downfield, a long stick midi, throw the ball back across his body to a trailing long stick midi or trailing D midi. They weren't supposed to, but we allow some creativity. Larkin Kemp did whatever he wanted sometimes. He went deaf on the offensive end of the field. But that's not what we promote, getting the ball to the attack. Second, keep the ball above the goal versus behind. We don't throw the ball behind the goal. We lose valuable seconds and valuable numbers advantage when we throw the ball behind. We want to keep the ball above. Third, decisions and hand signals are made by the attackman. I kind of referenced that earlier. It was funny, we had the Lehigh coaching staff came and spent some time with us this past fall, and then they left and went and had a scrimmage. And then they came, and I was talking to them like, Coach, the guys couldn't hear us. I didn't understand. Like, I was making calls, and I was like, wait a minute. We had this. We talked all about this transition offense, and you thought we made the calls from the sidelines? No. The guys have to make the calls. They have to make decisions. You have to teach them in practice what you want certain guys to come down and do. And so they're the ones making it. And those options. So decisions and hand signals are made by the attackman. We have 4 different things we do at UVA. 2 are the ones we do probably 95% of the time. So it's not saying we do all 4 very equal balanced. But we have hand signals. Our attackmen, when the ball's coming down at him, as I'm at long stick midi running downfield, and I'm looking at the lefty attackman, the single lefty attackman on the side, he's going to give me hand signals where the stick's above his head, sticks out to his side, okay? He can tap his head. You can come up with any signals you want. But those hand signals are really what I'm looking for, what we're going to do in this transition phase. Okay? He can also yell it too. But we have situations sometimes where it's really windy or depending on the size of the crowd, they can't hear us. Okay? So we have different options that we can do coming down there. Attackmen are just that. They're in attack mode. Okay? This is, the last 2 is probably what will throw things upside down for us. Because I've never done anything like this before until the last 2 years. Our attackmen are not responsible for backing up the goal when we're in transition. We want our attackmen above the goal, attacking the goal. Our D middies, our long stick middies, the guys coming down in transition, they're responsible for it. Okay? So you got to drill that, right? You got to hammer that home because they're not responsible for that. But we want all 3 of our attackmen above the goal, probing, dodging, trying to be goal scorers. All right. So that's probably as good for now. We'll go back to the video. So now diving back, now let's get into the nuts and bolts of this. First guy without the ball crashes the crease. So I'm running down, I've got the ball, okay? I'm responsible for something, but let's say in this scenario here, so 88 is the first guy without the ball. You can see him just barely inside the screen on the left. He's already inside the box. His job is to crash the crease, cut hard to that crease. The hope is, just like it did there, is he draws attention. Kyler Balestri is about to catch this ball, that his defender got caught up going in, doing his job, really. You got to cover the crease, right? Even though it's a long stick midi, he probably didn't have to cover him that hard. But by cutting into that crease, hopefully he creates open space there. Another one. You can see the pole. You can see the pole's already cut down to that crease. Rewind that. I didn't even know if you could tell because we lose him in the video. But number 88, Jake Miller, he flew down there. You can see we two pole face-offs most of the time. He's down there, and he's already drawing attention. And again, giving Kyler Balestri his hands free to hit the crossbar on that one. This is a nifty play. This is, if you run on this one, I know we're not really talking about face-off play, but boy, Will Garrall really got himself to a good game. He knew that in this case, and the long pole started understanding, he just picked this thing up and goosed it back behind him. There's 88 cutting that crease again, and we end up finding him that time. One more time on that one.
Of course, he wants to go down there. He wants to shoot.
Yeah, he wants to score, right? Again, these are my ice hockey players. 88 played really good hockey in Wisconsin. Okay, this is the semifinal game. So Tullett picks up the ball, 25, and then Kemp kind of, this is a heck of a play. I mean, I know, this is one of those, rewind that one again. He's not that wide open, and he doesn't really cut the crease that hard. He kind of, you can see Kemp is sort of drifting to that far back pipe, but the other cut drew Kemp's man. Now the faceoff guy cut the crease hard, and it gave Kemp just enough space. So again, we want those off-ball guys to crash the crease. You could see Prigmore out there. Now, from there, I told you that our long stick middies and our D middies and our faceoff guys have backup responsibility. Obviously, I'm showing you where we take the shot right away. But they cut to that crease, and then from there, they are responsible for migrating behind the goal if a shot's about to be taken. Okay, so coming down the single attack side. So one of our 4 options, okay? Attackman puts his stick above his head, a little bit of a pepper here. What we're looking for is, I'm this long stick middie, I'm running down, the lefty attackman puts his stick up there, I throw it down, pepper, a little bit of the acronym, pass down, pick down. Okay, I throw it to him, and then I set a pick. This is probably the most common thing we do in our transition. This one works just, there was a feeder there. Okay, we throw that ball to the middle, bangs it down to the lefty, and sets that pepper. And what's great about this happens quite a bit too, is now we get the ball to Henry Blinn, our lefty shooter, and the defense starts anticipating the pick, and all of a sudden he's got his hands free. And so then Blinn can pull the trigger from there. Let me pull that one back, Jason. Keep going back. I didn't even see that one. I was talking about the one even, yeah, I was talking about that shot. Okay, here's Kemp coming down, pass down, pick down for Blinn. Blinn sweeps across and takes that shot. And again, this is Blinn just being creative here on that one, Jason. Blinn being creative here. Now he doesn't even use the pick. He starts to go above it. He sees the defenseman cheat high on it, and then he just dodges underneath it. This is us at Villanova. Here's Tullett coming down, pass down, set the pick. Now, why is that open? It had nothing to do with the pick, but again, it's that first part. We want those guys without the ball to crash the crease, and that drew enough, Larkin Kemp drew enough attention, and then we were able to find the guy on the backside. Okay, let me pause there. Pepper, questions about that? What I'm doing here is I'm kind of going backwards. I'm showing you the fun clips, and then I'm going to show you the practice drills where we hammer this home. And so from here, what we'll see is how we set up our practices, how we set up our shooting drills. It's all about, D middies going down and working with the attackman. Pass down, pick down, being a pepper.
One of the things with pepper, it requires a really good left-hand attackman. Do you ever run it right side?
Yes, yes. And this is a really good question. So we do a lot of our stuff. Well, I mean, I can't even tell you how this evolved. This evolved as in, you got a righty, the crease, and the lefty. And where this evolved is, you know what, as we come down a side, we want to always have the single side. So if we did come down this side, we were telling this crease guy to push away, so now that becomes your single side. So you can do it down either side. Okay? What I'll admit that we started realizing with Balestri and Malloy last year, and we feel the same now with French and Zed Williams, is that they're both right-handed, that we want to keep them both on the right side. We're just throwing them the ball, and we're getting out of their way, and we're letting them do their own peppers and those slips. So I showed you that one, but I'm going to show you a bunch more now here. So it's funny because a year ago, I may have sat here and said, this is exactly what we do. But in 2016, we had so much fun just saying, you know what, let's just, even though they have two poles. Part of the reason we like pepper is because now we're introducing a big little pick that the defense may not want to switch, right? They want to fight through this thing. Plus, it's transition. The defense isn't really thinking about picks on ball during transition. So we're trying to put them in an uncompromising situation there. If we throw down the two side, and you got two right-handed attackmen, it's pole to pole. They can easily switch it. But we found that Ballestri and Malloy were so good, and we think Zed and French can do the same, that we can take advantage of that. The next one, well, what if you don't even have a lefty attackman? Anyone got that problem? You know, or someone you don't even want to play? Maybe just man up. But what we do, this next one, Jumbo, is one of the other options that we'll do. So as this ball is coming down, you're like, uh-oh, what do we do now? Jumbo will clear through. And this actually is what Tufts was doing when they had Sean Kerwin playing. And Sean Kerwin ended up scoring 66 goals his senior year. Sean's a righty. They didn't have a good lefty. So here's a team that wins a national championship at the Division III level that didn't have a lefty on attack. So they love Jumbo. They actually preferred to do a Jumbo in any type of sort of numbers type situation. They would come through here, and if his defender showed any little bit, they would just jam it into him, and he was a great finisher. So Jumbo can actually be, I say this tongue-in-cheek a little bit, but we don't get to do Jumbo that well because we actually have lefties. And anytime you bring a lefty in there and he's got a core for his right hand, it's not that good, you know? It's almost like you want to put a righty there because it's really dangerous. So it's actually going to be an effective thing to do. We don't have that many clips, thank you, of the Jumbo, but here's one. What we did right there is you can see Blinn cleared through for that midi, who didn't do a great job dodging, but now we got Larkin Kemp cut the crease. We made some little action happen there, but there's our lefty shooting righty, hitting the pipe. But for us, that one doesn't need a hand signal. Jumbo is just get through. And Jumbo does come from Tufts, the tough Jumbos. But, you know, so as I'm running down as a long stick midi, if I see the guy clearing through, I'm just like, oh, okay, he's giving me a chance to dodge here. So again, decision making, what are you training your attackman? Knowing who I am. If I'm the guy who doesn't have a great stick and I'm not a great offensive player with a long stick, then just pass down, pick down. But if I'm a threat, if I'm Ryan Conrad, somebody, let's Jumbo, let's clear it through for him. Let's let him go to the goal. All right, so this is the dump it. This is what changed in 2016. We're like, you know what? Let's keep the two righties over there. So here we are coming down, and you can bring that one back a little bit. So now as we come down the right-hand side, so instead of having one of the attackmen push over to the lefty side so we have a single side, we're just going to you can rewind a little bit. You can see Malloy point to the pole where to throw the ball. Guys, there's Prigmore. There's been a Prigmore sighting. Okay, so Prigmore throwing the ball to Ballestri, and now they're going to do a little two-man game. I'm sorry, he threw the ball to Malloy. Malloy threw the ball to Ballestri there. Rewind this one a little bit. And that's what Ballestri did so well. Everyone knows Malloy's name. Ballestri was the one who went right away to the cannons and started playing and starting. Smart player. He just run traffic and make decisions. Okay, again, we're coming down the right side. Okay, we throw it over there. Now, some of that you're like, well, Coach, nobody was open. You just have really good lacrosse players. Yeah, I have really good lacrosse players. You know, but it allowed Malloy to dodge. Okay, they had to deal with the pick. Malloy gets a dodge. Blinn's man cheats over a little bit. Shows. Okay. Again, it's that active. You guys are starting to notice number 88, who's scoring that goal. I mean, just a little thing. You see that. He cut that back pipe. And now he clears into the crease right there and just moving and creating. So that was one where we probably should have gotten rid of the ball sooner. Yeah, that's when you have the Tuarton winner again. He just does stuff like this. But you can see our pole doesn't throw the ball quickly enough. But he eventually does get over there. Now we set up this two-man game. Slip. He almost could have been open there. Blinn does a nice job clearing through the lefty. And Malloy just does Malloy stuff. Yeah. Yeah, is that Stony Brook?
This guy at the top, is there a time that you send guys off? Looks like a face-off guy. The guy on the top, he's like, all right, I'm out of here.
Yeah, that's a mistake. This is our second game of the year. That's a mistake. He should not be running out right there. Because if Dylan Malloy's dodging, he should be staying in there. Yeah, just because the whole 5-on-6. It's a great question, Brett Brown. We're in this attack mode, and then when does it get to the early offense phase? When are we now into the sub game, where we do start subbing or keeping a guy out there and locking him up? That was too early. We were still kind of in that first 5-10 seconds of attacking. I think this is an example. Rewind that one, Coach. Oh, yeah, okay. Where we fake using the pick. He starts to, and he just goes underneath. I think we go on the crease on that one. This is us against Harvard. This is a nifty one again. And what's been really fun, and we've certainly seen it with the Virginia guys, is we didn't come up with a lot of this stuff. This is just them playing. I don't know if we ever drew this up, in practice, but we do, practice and give them a lot of reps. All right, now here's the current Virginia guys. So that's Zed and French working together. One more time on that one. Right, it's almost like he's going to set a pick, and slip it. And again, what you can see here, who's backing up the cage? Keep going back. Yeah, you got the cutter there. There's a face-off guy cutting into the crease, and you got a pole behind the goal and another pole over there. That's their job. This allows the attackmen to be just what they are, attackmen. Okay, questions on that? All right, how we drill it. So we've seen this drill before, but now I want you to watch it, and now we're going to worry about actually what we're doing. Okay, so we saw the framework, the logistics of it all. But now, hopefully, you'll see what we're doing with our transition phase. So here, this is a typical 4-on-3. So nothing too crazy there. I will say, if you can watch that one, defensively, we tend to hold our slides. I like, as a defensive coach, I like it when the midi comes down and shoots. My assumption is the best three shooters for the opposing team are standing there waiting to touch the ball. I don't want them to touch the ball, so we tend to hold that as long as possible. Okay, what is that?
Pepper.
That was a little pepper, yep. And so right there, it's almost like you can almost see the blue midi, it almost looked like he forgot. And it's funny, like the first time we had referees come to practice this fall, it didn't look like any of this. Like, it's almost like it was like a real scrimmage. It wasn't, it was just referees there. But it's like they reverted back to what they'd known for years. And so I get it. Like, you may try some of this stuff or try some other new things, and at first they just don't buy in. Well, they've got years of doing it a certain way. Got years of brushing my teeth right hand, now I got to do it left-handed? It takes us a while to learn. And so you can almost see, as he first started coming down, that he was going the wrong side, but then he remembered. All right, so what do we got here? So that ball's on the far side. So that's a dump it. So now we're going to go the right-hand two-man game. So if we do the two-side, what does that, if you rewind that one back, what does that midi do? So the midi who dumps it down the side, he now cuts to the far pipe. You also have another pole cutting in there. And again, those guys will eventually get behind the goal and be ready to back up shots.
I've seen a lot of times your attacks are the ones getting space. Do you get concerned with the minis all crashing?
Yeah, sometimes it can happen, but it'd be hard to say, well, I wouldn't want to give too many rules, I guess. But I knew you'd say sometimes you're like, geez, you got two guys kind of cutting right into each other. It doesn't happen enough to me to worry too much about. If it happened more, maybe we'd make something about it. Looks like we're doing a lot of peppers on this day. Nice pick off by the defense and pushing the ball up forward. Okay, so then we saw the Manning drill. This is where we hammer it even more so, because now we've got a half-field drill. And so that's where this is all working from. So this is a day, rewind this one, Coach. This might, let's go back a little further. Let's see where the attack are. Where's our white attack? Oh, we had two on the opposite. Okay. And so the right-hand side was the single side. Coach Kerwin does experiment with this. I think we're going to go to a dump it. We're going to go right hand, just keep 2 attackmen over there. But some Manning day drills, he's like, okay, I want a single side which side the ball comes in, so make sure we have 2 guys opposite the ball side so that we're always doing a single side. So here we're doing a pepper on the right-hand side and then the lefty coming over.
Is that opposite attackman trying to curl up?
Yeah, he's given freedom to curl up, find space. Don't worry about backing up the goal. Okay, you got a defenseman, pass down, pick down, pepper. And again, that is a shot that often is, rewind that one, that shot is often open because of that cut. The first guy without the ball does what? Cuts that crease. And you can see as he cut in, he took that lefty defenseman number 2 in, and all of a sudden you got the general drill, right? And now in that case, he takes that shot. So it tends to give up that shot. Now, granted, in a real game, it's not 5v4 for too long because here comes that next defender. That's why we got to push that ball as fast as possible to take advantage.
I did the signal.
Yeah, you see the signal? He had the hands up above the... Again, those guys cut that crease. It makes those defensemen sag in, so then the backside is open. Yeah.
So you said you run your 4v3 break and everything else is numbers. Does that include even? So this is 4v4, 5v5?
Exactly. It could be 4 on 5. This is what we do. So we don't even worry about it. Just the attack makes the signal. All right, so this is a day I think we did some more of the 2-man right-hand side dump its. Let's see here. Yep, that's a single side lefty. There's the pepper. There's the one up, bang, bang. This might be the one they threw away. Yeah, you can bang.
There's my practice.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so the right-hand side, okay, again, you got French and the righty working together. Again, cutting that back pipe, do a nice job of that. Yeah. Coach wasn't happy about shooting high and tight. He's a big fan of fake high, shoot low and tight. Good, okay. So I said we have 4 options. I showed we did a lot of pepper and some jumbo. Some other things we will do, but again, not very often, is we'll do a flip. So I'll carry down and I'll flip it to the lefty attackman who comes off of it. Not that, in a sense, it's not that different from the pepper, is it? We're exchanging spots. But sometimes we'll do the flip. Where we get really crafty is I fake the flip, depending on how good offensively I am. The last one we do, which we might do for like a Ryan Conrad or some of our better D middies who are really offensive minded, is the attackman comes and sets a pick for me. Okay? So now I'm coming down and the attackman sets a pick for me if I've got somebody coming, like say Brian's got back in a hole, all right? And then I'm allowed to attack the goal off of his pick, off of the attackman's pick. Again, we don't do it as much. A lot of times what will happen is a defenseman will switch onto me, so then I would roll away and hit the attackman who now may have an offensive midi who raced back in the hole on him. So it's another option that you could look into. Okay, early offense. So, all right, you're the defensive coordinator. You survived our transition. You survived the 4-on-3 or the numbers, and we were doing all this pepper. You survived that piece. Okay? We're not going to let you off the hook. Now we come to the early offense. This is us against Hopkins. You can see Hopkins is, they don't want, you can see the Hopkins guys are looking at Petro. Do you want me to come in the game? Do you want me to stay out of the game? Do I come in? Do I go out? Our concept is, can we create 5-on-5? And so as you rewind this one, Coach, you can see here number 14, Brewster Warble for us, standing right next to the referee. That guy, he's looking over there. Do you want me to go in? Finally, Petro says, you know what, just go in. But it's really 5-on-5 because he's not in there yet. And so we love the idea of 5v5. Obviously, as defensive coaches, we want 100 on 100, right? We want as many bodies out there as possible. But that's the end result of taking advantage. 88 started coming out of the game. He saw someone coming with him. You tell you guys, if they're coming with you, don't come out, okay? our cheat sheet is a piece of tape, piece of white tape on your glove, okay? Who are the offensive middies, who are the defensive middies for the opponent, or who are the guys we make sure we trap out there. So you don't have to remember all this when you're getting ready for your game against Wesleyan or whoever. Just look at the numbers right there, okay? So it's there. And so for 88, he's got to like, oh, okay, that guy doesn't want, or you can just see. And this is an interesting one. It's almost like you pass off that annoying fly. You walk by a friend of yours and you pass him off. Rewind that one, Coach. Because you can see that that guy really wanted out of the game. 27 for Hopkins. We get to the clip here, starting here. And so he's starting, oh, there's 88. That's my free right out. There's a long pole leaving. Well, no. And so then he sees 42. Well, maybe I'll go with 42. Okay. And then that's just Malloy and Balestri doing stuff. But okay, so this is a typical one. So now you got our face-off guy here and the Harvard face-off guy. And if they just want to go hip to hip here. So now we've got 5v5. So we don't really beat this guy clean. But it just allows us to be a little closer, right? 6v6, we got to be a little further away. 5v5, we can be a little bit closer. Question?
What do you do with your one guy who's getting shut off? You tell him.
Yeah. Now we have a couple different things. The first part, what I was just showing you, was for statues. Statues is our phrase for stand about the 40-yard line, about 10 yards from the midline, and just stand there. If they'll stand there with you, then we've got 5v5. You know, once in a while we get double statue. That's great. Then you got 4v4 out there. But now, one thing that's interesting, you saw Maryland do it last year. They'll stand sometimes opposite the box. We did most of the time, we did statue near the box side. So therefore, if we saw the opposing team's Omar, or GOAT, the go-at, starting to sneak in, we could race our guy out. But there is a general philosophy here. If you want to statue the far side with guys you don't mind going back in and playing defense. So if it's a long stick midi, you could statue the far side. D midi, statue the far side. A face-off guy, we're definitely going to statue him near the box in case we do lose the ball, because then we can just run him out, run a D midi in. So that's the statue phase. We love it if you'll just stand up there with us, because now we can play 4v4, 5v5, or whatever. The razor pick. This is the other option we have. So now we're going to set that pick near the GLE. So you can see this first one. You've got Larkin Kemp. He's got an offensive midi. So that's a long stick midi for Brown, setting a pick for Malloy there. He's got an offensive midi on him, and so it's an opportunity for us to create a pick. Now, maybe we'll rub the guy off, but most likely what we've created, again, is sort of a 5v5 because the guy's going to stay on Larkin, let the guy go through, and then Malloy does his thing. That's it, I know. We had some really good players last year. That's Bailey Tills, number 13, who had a hell of a fun. We won that one. So for us, now, and think about this. How did the long stick midi get back behind the goal? He was backing up the cage. So this shouldn't be sort of this disconnected segments. This sort of can flow through. All right, we put the transition, you back up the cage. Okay, they got us all even. It's all 6v6. You could go right into the razors. Okay, you're already back there. Now go set a pick for the attackman. And this is just a hell of a look by Malloy and Balestri hammering it. I think this might be a double razor. You got a long pole and a face-off guy setting picks. And sometimes the first one was just a dummy, and then come by and do the second one for real. Okay, got nothing there, so then we go right to the 6v6 mode. One thing we like about it, if you rewind that last one, Coach, is now where the slide scheme's coming from. It can really work well against opponents who like to slide cross crease, right? Because now they don't have a cross crease slide. That Omar or that GOAT, he's not sliding cross crease. He's locked on his guy. And so when you can see us come through this pick here, rewind that. Now yep, perfect. The guy, our man carrying knows the slide's got to come from the crease. So he can look more into the crease to see if he's drawn a slide. In this case, he doesn't. but it really does take that away. All right, this one's got a lot of things going on. The Hopkins guy probably should have just kept coming out, because now we're going to torture him. Now he's looking at the bench. What do you want me to do? So we've got two things going on here. We've got both. We've got both the statue, and you can see we've got long stick middies in the game. So we're going to do both the statue and a razor. We saw the Hopkins guy go in, so now our face-off guy comes running out. So we've trapped one of their Omars out there. Now we're going to go to our razor. Larkin comes to this pipe. And we said, let's get to the right matchup. Let's get it to Tills. And so then he's able to set that razor pick, and then Tills just does what he does. So this is that second of the three. This is that early offense attack mode. So again, this is us just showing us some clips of how we do a lot of these practice, these drills of setting up these razors. Getting your offensive middies playing defense and getting your D middies to play offense and getting them comfortable with this. Because this is what we're going to do in our transition game. Obviously, the offense was fortunate to get a switch there and take advantage of it. So attack versus defenseman, and an offensive midi being the defender, and the defender, rewind this one, I want to show us a little bit more here. And so what's great is now you've got some Omar or GOAT, he's got to be the one doing the talking. He's got to make decisions there. What I don't like about that one is it's too far away. We want that pick to be a little closer to the goal. I feel like the defense has too much time to recover here. We do get a trail check in. He was sort of beat, but I don't want the pick that far outside the box. I want that pick, this is a little bit better spacing. Really nice job here by a lefty attackman attacking there. And then we'll do it in a 4v4 set as well, where still we have that razor pick, but now we've got 2 versus 2 above, so you deal with cutters. Both defenders go with the same cut. Defense gets above the pick that time. Aggressive switch. Rewind that one, coach. Does a really nice job here by the offense, by the, he sees the aggressive switch. Could have slipped a little sooner, but he does slip. Yeah, I should have kept going a little quicker than that. Let me bring that back, Coach, a little bit. I just want to go back to one of the 2v2s and talk about one thing. When they're coming out of that corner, yeah, the other corner, yeah, good job. Keep going back, Perfect, good, right about there. One thing with this 2v2 game here that we found is, pause right there. As a defense, as we're trying to get through picks, because this is a pick you want to get through, all right? And you almost don't even, your Omar Goats, he's getting through. He's not switching on this one. What we have found is what can the offense get the defense to do in terms of does the defender on ball go above the pick or does he go under the pick? Okay, so if he's going to try to stay close to his attackman and go above the pick, which I know is a little counterintuitive because we're actually talking about behind the goal and not above the goal, so just stay with me. When I say above the pick, meaning he's going to stay close to the ball. We found that if the defense obviously is going to try to stay close to his man and not step underneath the pick, that then we want to rub shoulders, right? We want to see if we can rub this guy off. But what if the defense is saying, you know what, I'm just going to step back and get underneath the pick? Well, with a razor, then what we should be doing is pushing the pick a little bit higher. Because now, if that pick goes from being a couple yards below the GLE to almost a couple yards above the GLE, now the attackman can just almost go straight to the goal. Because the defender is sort of going too far above the cage. So I don't think we have a great clip here, but I just wanted to introduce that concept. Yeah, so instead of, it's like, hey, it's like you just want to tell the the attackman, hey, look, oh, it's really the guy setting the pick. If they're going to go underneath all this, then do it above the goal, and now our attackman can just kind of dive straight in, right into there. So just a little thing to think about, some of those little nuances of this. We don't really see it in this one because he goes underneath us. Again, we're too far away and we're too low there. It allows the defense to recover. This one, this next clip almost shows that, but he actually goes, he tries to go too strong there. But it's just something to think about with that. Good. The last piece of this is the 6v6 charge right away. So you, defense coordinator, you survived our transition. You survived our little sub-games of statues and razors. Okay? And now it's like, okay, all right, we're like, all right, Larkin, come on. Larkin, Kemp, face-off guy, let's get off the field. Because now, you know, the other coach is starting to say, hey, they're stalling, they're not really going to the goal, you know? So all right, we got to start playing some 6v6 here. And, but we charge right away. Big thing for us is the last guy coming in out of the box, you know, can we make it so that we're sort of leaving the box side alley, that whole side of the field wide open? And so the ball sort of moves away. Let's say the sub box was here and I was the 5th guy in the field. I'd be like, oh, geez, I got to get to the middle of the field, catch this ball. So the 6th guy in, let's say it's Jason, we kind of lob the ball from him. So he's stepping on the field, running downhill, going right to the goal. And so therefore, there's no patience, you know. It may not be for you. It may not match up with your personnel. We were talking about personnel earlier, you know, if you feel like you don't have the horses to do this. But this is exactly what we do, and it's how fast we want to try to play. Questions?
Do you play with all your polls? So if it's a close defense or LSM, will they go down?
Yeah, so that recess mode. First read over, just go. You know, and again, now it's up to the attackman as they get to learn their teammates. What should I be doing with this guy? You know, should I get the ball to stick right away, or is he somebody I can throw the ball back to? You know, all that stuff. But yeah, the concept is the first read go. And I was somewhat jokingly saying it earlier, but it is true. Sometimes the first read don't have the ball, and the 4th guy has the ball, and he's like, he runs off sides. But I guess you know, hopefully we learn from that. But that's the mindset. Other questions? Good. All right. Oh, one more.
Defensively, how do you teach your players to get through this?
I could spend a lot of time with that. I can grab you right after, yeah. But I'm of the mindset to. Interesting question, and I'll end this with a philosophical answer. 2015 Brown Lacrosse, our offense was fast, our defense wasn't. So you could hold the ball against us. That was a counter to us, and it was frustrating. Going between the 2015 and 2016 offseason, we said, you know what, our defense has to match our offense. We may not be comfortable with it, but we have to be more aggressive. And so we said, how can we be more aggressive? So we listed like 7 or 8 different things on the board, and we implemented them. And one of them was picks. We're going to double picks. You want to bring another defender to the ball? We're going to double it. Now, granted, you can see some counters are when you have slick and slip picks like the Canadians can do and Zed Williams can do. But then we started sending a slide scheme right away at it. But so we have 3 different ways to do it. But I tell you, to match our offense defensively, we're trying to we're going after it, and making you as an offense prove you can make that slip and make that nice play, and you score a goal. Great, now it's a face-off, whatever. So that's our. But I can dive into more of that. But again, I really appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate Billy Day and Nike and the partnership that we have, and Mark Flood and everything you guys are doing. So thank you very much.
Thanks for coming out. I know it's kind of a clinic that we kind of sped up a little bit. You guys do because we want to make sure we get you guys all safe, your families, and all that. These guys will be around while we break down. Feel free to, pick their brains if you want until we break down, and then that's it. But again, thank you very much. Best of luck to you guys this upcoming spring. Hopefully the weather clears out soon and we get that spring. All right, thanks again.